Hi, Kevin from the Awareness website. Here we are with another video from Classroom Classics. And in this video, we're going to cover a couple of things. Number one, how we can learn from each other. And number two, a couple of tips on move 39, the turning kick that comes right after separation. So hang in there, we'll be right back. The first thing we're going to cover is this week in class, I couldn't make it to Tuesday night's class, so I handed it over to Shelley. And the great thing about that sometimes is you don't always need your instructor there to learn. You can learn from each other. So by sharing and helping each other work through moves from a different perspective is a great thing. And sometimes you'll get a different viewpoint, different way of explaining something. And that's why I would send some students over to different classes. So I'd suggest that they go and take so-and-so's class because they have a different way of explaining things. Sometimes I would share stuff with some of the students and I would tell them over and over and over, and for months I would tell them the same thing. And they would go to a workshop or something and somebody would say something, exactly what I was telling them, but they'd say it in a slightly different way. And they'd say, "Oh, Kevin, why didn't you tell us that?" And sure enough, I had, but it's great because they're getting it. They're able to get it, even though it's from somebody else. That's great because you can still share with that. And there was one time I remember Mr. Moy at a workshop. He was watching a new guy. He'd been there doing Tai Chi for about 6 months, and he was watching this fellow and working with him a little bit. And he says, "Who's your instructor?" And he said, "Oh, well, that guy over there." And so Mr. Moy says, "Come over here." And he gets that guy's instructor to start doing, I think it was brush knees. And he says to the newbie, he says, "Now, okay, you correct your instructor because you're doing it better than he is." And so, of course, the 6-month newbie is just like absolutely panicked. Now he has to correct his instructor. And of course, the instructor is kind of, "Well, I'm the instructor." But it was great because everybody could learn. And the fact is this newbie was a young fellow and his body was able to do this stuff better than his instructor. So his instructor had an opportunity to learn from his student. So it's a great way of sharing, and you can learn in all sorts of different ways. So learning from each other, just play around with that and have that interaction with your fellow students. Now, the next class that we had, we're working on a move 39. So that's the turn and kick. And that follows right after the separation kicks. Now, the interesting thing about that, of course, is you need good balance to a certain degree. And with practice, it gets better. But one of the things that happens with that move 39, now, for example, if you go into the kick from the separation, so the separation left foot, you kick out, and then you step back behind yourself, and then you pivot on the right heel, and then go into the other kick, the left foot kick. Now the thing with that, now hopefully you're on a good solid floor. If you got a soft floor, if you're trying to do it in grass, it's hard to do the pivot, so you have to kind of modify it a little bit. But what happens quite often is when people do the separation kick, they step back and transfer their weight into that leg and then sort of flip their foot around and then shift their weight back again and then do the heel kick. You want to try and keep the weight balanced in the pivoting foot. So you don't want the body shifting back and forth. Because when you turn, you're turning with the body. So just like the body rotation exercises we do, you want to turn with the body and allow that foot to pivot around with you. So when you kick, you cross and step back, but keep the weight balanced on that front leg. And then you just turn the body and the pivot comes around with you. And then you can stand up and do the heel kick. So play around with that. Try and keep the balance in that right foot so that the pivot has most of the weight in it. And it's a very interesting way of going through that move, and it helps with keep your balance a little bit better too. So have fun and subscribe. And now I'm going to clarify something. I've been telling you guys to subscribe to the website. Apparently you can't subscribe to a website, but you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. So like our Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out the website, and we'll see you later.